Hi everyone. Today's video is about how we can choose our emotions to help us with our weight loss or our dieting. Um, I've got a lot of clients, and some of them do great guns, and some of them less so, struggle a bit more. Some of them go great guns, and then stuff happens in life that means that it just gets a lot harder. And a lot of times it's the way they're feeling inside of themselves about what's happening in their lives that affects their ability to then commit to themselves and their diet. Um, and so this is something that really fascinates me, the way that how we feel affects what we do. And today's video has been very much prompted by a young man who I've just discovered called Daniel Rees-Morgan. So I'll try and tag you in this video, Daniel. I watched your Facebook Live video, which mentioned about this technique that I'm about to talk about today. And I'd never heard of it before, and I thought it was really clever. So thank you, Daniel, for introducing me to this. It's a technique that was first, or I believe was developed by Tony Robbins, and he is a motivational speaker in America. I'm sure many of you have heard about him. And the technique that he talks about is a technique called the Triad. And the premise behind the Triad is that the only reason that anyone does anything in life is to change the way they feel. So a good example of me today is I've got Cambridge Weight Plan Convention coming up over the next few days, and I went and got my nails done and my toenails, and I had some sparkly stuff put on, and that made me feel really great. Made me feel like I'm looking after myself, like treating myself a bit, spending a bit of money on myself, just making an effort to look as good as I can. I bought a new ball gown, even though I don't need one. And actually, hubby wanted to see me in last year's one because he's never seen me in it, and he's coming this year. But I didn't want to wear last year's one, so I went out and bought a new one because it'll make me feel good. It'll make me feel better inside and happier. So the only reason I got the nails done and bought a new ball gown is for that reason. And this triad idea is very much coming at why we do anything for an emotional response. So, for instance, if you are deciding that you want to go on a diet to lose a bit of weight, perhaps one of the things that's motivating you is that the feeling you will get from losing weight is that you'll get more confidence. Or if someone is working really hard to earn some more money, maybe the reason they're doing that is because they feel that if they get more money, then they'll either feel more secure, or they'll just feel happier in life. All of the things that I'm talking about there that are being done are to do with creating a feeling. That's why we do them. So this triad idea of Tony Robbins is that there are three factors that determine how we feel, and that we can actually manipulate each of those three factors in our favour to enable us to feel differently about situations, which I think is incredibly exciting, because we tend to think that stuff happens in our lives and then we feel the way we do because of the stuff that's happening in their lives, and we're a victim almost. The feelings are out of our control, and they are a consequence of what's happening in our lives. But actually, it's the complete opposite. This is such a radical new way of thinking about stuff, which I found really exciting this morning when I heard this idea, which is why I'm sharing it with you today. So the first factor in this triad is your physiology. So the way you hold your body, the way you are, the way you breathe, the way you move, the way you stand. And the idea behind this is that every emotion that we have is first felt in our body. So a really good example of this is, in fact, if you scroll back on my videos that I've done, which you probably won't do, but if you wanted to, you would see this in me actually, shortly after, I think it was the week after my dad had his heart bypass surgery. I was very worried about him. I was very tired, and it'd been a very stressful couple of weeks in supporting him and supporting mum. And the YouTube video I did, I was very quiet and I stayed very still, and I was very softly spoken, and I wasn't particularly animated, and the YouTube video very much reflected the way I felt at the time. Whereas when I'm feeling good, I'm really excited about convention over the next few days, and spending some time with some really good friends and my fantastic team, and we're just going to have such a lovely time. And so tonight I'm really excited because after I've done this, I'm going to go and pack, and then I'll be driving off to Telford tomorrow. So my whole physiology and the whole way has changed because of the way I'm feeling. Two really good examples for you there. The second factor is the focus that you have up here, and your beliefs that you have. So an example of this is using convention again as an example. A couple of years ago, I went to my first convention and I was absolutely dreading it, because my beliefs about myself were that I'm not very good in big groups. I don't really enjoy parties, and my whole focus going up there was that it was going to be awful, and that I really didn't want to be there. I'd been dragged up, kicking, screaming, which I'm very thankful for now, because it pulled me out of my comfort zone and taught me a lot, as you'll hear in a minute. But I just wanted to go home, and why on earth had I come? So my whole focus and my whole beliefs were about that it was going to be an awful experience. And so because of that, it could, if I'd carried on thinking that way, it could have impacted, and probably would have actually impacted, my whole experience of convention. This leads me on to the third factor, which is the language that we use. So the first factor is your physiology, the second factor is your focus and beliefs, and the third factor is the language you use. So the language I was using for myself when I went up to convention 2 years ago was, I'm shy. I really am no good with small talk and large groups. I'm really a bit dull. There's nothing exciting about me. Who's going to be interested in little old me? I'm going to just sit there with nothing to say, and it's going to be really awkward and embarrassing. And I just can't do it. I can't do it. And so that was the internal language and dialogue that I was using for myself all the time. And I was very lucky that I won an award on that convention, and that meant that I had to go across to convention early for pre-dinner drinks for the award winners before the people who dragged me up, who were my comfort blanket. So I was forced out of my comfort blanket for that convention. And while I was getting ready to go across on my own, I really, really didn't want to be going. I just wanted to go home. And I even started packing my suitcase to go home, saying that no one was going to miss me. And in fact, I was just going to walk to the station now and not go to the rest of convention, blah, 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 blah. And I eventually talked myself into going and just giving it a go, and that I would just show my face, let my manager stroke head office, so some of the people see me there, and then I'd go, and then I'd have at least done a little bit of it. And so I was walking across from my hotel to the convention centre, dreading it, talking to myself about how I can't do it and I'm rubbish and what am I thinking, and it's just going to be so awful, when I suddenly stopped in my tracks and I changed my whole focus and the whole language I was using in one fell swoop by, I shan't swear on YouTube, but I swore very loudly to myself in the middle of the pavement. Goodness knows what people around me thought. And I told myself to shut up, stop talking like this. I was 50 years old. How much longer was I going to carry on talking to myself like this? And that I had to just man up, shut up, stop listening to the voices, and just blooming well go and do it. And so I did, all the time repeating that to myself, that you can do this, you're quite capable of doing this, you've won an award, thousands of people don't, you did, start believing in yourself, blah 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 blah. And I went and I did it. And the next morning, the couple that I was with over breakfast, Stuart, if you're watching, he leant across to me at the breakfast table and he said, "So, Sonia, you're the lady who said that you don't drink much, you don't party, you don't like dancing, you don't like small talk. And who was it? Who was the life and soul of the party last night? Who got a bit drunk, which might have helped with the chattering, chatted to everyone, danced, and actually you had a great time, didn't you?" And I really, really did, just by challenging myself to think differently. So I know from my own personal experiences that we can choose any emotion that we want simply by deciding to feel it. And that's such an exciting concept. So thank you, Daniel, for reminding me about it through this triad system. And I hope it helps you guys.